never mind road safety as such, yes.
JVW drivers are paid a set amount to collect and deliver a load. This can vary from as little as €30 to €110. In most of the cases we examined, the amount paid for a load fell far short of the legal minimum wage when divided by the number of hours worked. In some cases, drivers got nothing for a day's work.
He's paid by the load. If you're not making loads, you don't have money. If you're waiting in the port, he's not paid for this. He's paid just by the load.
How many hours could you be waiting?
Well, sometimes we're waiting 12 hours in the port.
And you don't get a load?
Yeah.
And you don't get paid?
Yeah.
You get nothing for that day?
Nothing.
Why do you stay there when you're being forced to work so many hours?
Because I have no experience. I must learn the experience. Maybe after 2 years in this company, I will change this job,
A number of drivers from JVW gave us their tachograph records for analysis. Once analysed, we asked our experts to sum up their findings.
We have a scale of severity levels 1 to 5. So level 1 problems are very trivial. Level 5 problems are severe, very bad. And this would be a level 5 problem.
In a letter to Primetime, JVW denies imposing deadlines on drivers and breaching the working time legislation. It denies forcing drivers to forgo rest periods. It denies paying drivers below the minimum wage. And the company says it takes its health and safety responsibilities seriously. In a separate statement, Argos say their deliveries in Ireland are subcontracted to hauliers here. They point out the drivers in question are not employed directly by Argos, and they say they are investigating the issues we raised as a matter of urgency. Back in Germany, and our undercover driver working in Balnalard Transport is under serious pressure to make his 4 p.m. deadline. If he misses his allocated collection time, he could wait hours for the next available slot. He is forced to miss rest periods and to break the speed limit as he dashes across the country, adding to his ever-increasing list of driving infringements.
Arriving at destination on left.
As before, he gets to his destination with just minutes to spare, only to find his race against the clock was unnecessary.
Yeah, I want the collection.
For Ireland?
Yeah, Ireland.
Too early.
Too early?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
My boss say it must be 4 o'clock.
No. 6, 6:30. If you like, you can park up.
Yeah.
Despite being told earlier he could take a 24-hour rest period on Saturday, our driver is told to travel to Calais and then on to Holyhead, where he is booked on the Sunday afternoon ferry to Dublin. Once more, it's a race against time to meet yet another unrealistic deadline. Heavy traffic along the way means he's late for the ferry and he must wait another 10 hours for the next sailing. Though this gives our driver a chance to sleep for a few hours, it means he must drive again the following day, making it 11 consecutive days driving, almost double the legal limit of 6. He eventually boards the ferry in the early hours of Monday morning. Meanwhile, back here, extremely long hours and poor employment conditions have resulted in a huge increase in the number of employment rights cases being brought to the Labour Relations Commission by migrant workers. A number of those cases were taken against haulage companies.
There has been some extraordinary cases of hours of work by employees in this country that are akin almost to slave labour. And it shames me to say that.
There are 33 pieces of legislation in Ireland government employment law, and there are numerous avenues and semi-state quangos in place to make sure that employees' rights are preserved. Now, I have no evidence, or nobody has suggested that there's not enough law or not enough state agencies. So if migrant workers lack some knowledge, that's something I can't address.
In fact, the LRC dealt with 11,000 cases of alleged exploitation this year alone. That's a threefold increase since 2003. Little is known about the cases taken to the rights commissioners at the LRC, as the hearings are held in private and the findings are not made public. However, Primetime has uncovered documents relating to a recent case taken by Peter Badenhorst, a South African truck driver. His case was against Continental Perishables in County Louth.
When I started working there was no contract given to me. All of us been said is the way it's working there, it's you get paid by the load. And at the time, I had no other job.
How many hours a day would you have been working roughly?
Well, roughly average 14, 15 hours from Monday to Friday, and then plus if there's weekend work on, that depends on where we had to work.
There were more hours on top of that?
Yeah, more. There was more hours on top of that for the weekend.
So you were working, you could have ended up, if you worked the weekends, you could have been working more than 80 hours a week?
Yeah, easily, very easily.
In July last year, the Rights Commissioners at the LRC found against Continental Perishables on a number of grounds, including failure to give proper rest periods, failure to provide a written contract of employment, failure to provide weekly pay slips, failure to give adequate holiday pay, failure to apply for a work permit for Peter Badenhorst. Continental Perishables was owned by Jimmy Quinn, the president of the Irish Road Haulage Association.
Peter Badenhorst, he brought you to the Labour Relations Commission. They found that you breached the Working Time Directive in relation to his daily and weekly rest periods, that you failed to provide him with written terms and conditions of employment, that you failed to provide weekly pay slips during his employment. How do you respond to all of those? Do you have any response?
I think it's very unfair that somebody would be tried twice for the same offence. I went through all this at the Labour Court.
Peter was awarded almost €3,000 in compensation. This should have been paid within 6 weeks.
Until today, I didn't receive 1 cent of that nearly €3,000.
A year and a half later, he still hasn't got his compensation.
I'm going to join this interview for legal advice.